Let me ask Jan Perry to unmute herself, and let's see if we can highlight you. And let's see, give it a second. So let me just see, I'll check the chat room here. Yeah, so Sandy said ideas on how to build teacher efficacy and virtual teaching and learning. Yes, absolutely. All right. Jan, are you there?
Hi, yes, hi, my name is Jan Perry. I'm the Executive Director of America's Finest Charter School. We're in San Diego. We serve Title I kids, grades K through 12. We have about 500 students.
Welcome.
Yeah, the reason why I brought that up was I remember like some things I would like, how do you do this? We were trying to take attendance during a staff meeting and I go, how do you do this? And then so much is in the Google, the Google Chrome, what do you call it, store, where you can go in and you say attendance tracker. Well, you go in there and then you load it into your Google, which we use Google Chrome for everything. We load it in there. Hey, it works. Now I see the tracking of attendance during a meeting. Or how do you, what was another one? How do you use your whiteboard? How do you make a whiteboard during your presentations? You know, we figured it out through that. There's so many things, and you don't realize how many things. Oh, the other one, how do you change a document into a writable Google Doc from, you know, a PDF? And you do the same thing. There's a Google Chrome thing that you add to your suite, and it's like, now you can do it. So there's just so many things like that that are really helpful. And I don't think you just put the question in and how do you do it in Google, and then it tells you how to get into that, your Chrome, and you're automatically added to your, and you know, I'm 62. I'm not really young as far as, you know, technology, but I've learned a lot by just asking the question in Google and saying, how do you do it in Google Chrome? And it's like, for us, that's like the best way to get information. And then we did what I thought was really great is we have Google Classrooms for all of our teachers, but we also did a Google Classroom for the whole staff where people can put resources and videos in there and just things that are working for them so the whole staff could share it. So it's like a whole staff Google Classroom. That's really been helpful for us because a lot of it is, you know, that was the first step, getting people really comfortable with online learning. You know, now I think with Sandy's my principal at the K-8, I think now really looking at the standards and picking out what's really important would be our next step, is really streamlining the teaching, what we're doing. But the one thing we do have good is the majority of our teachers are younger, which is great, makes it a little bit easier. So, but I'd have to say, you know, if you have a question, just ask in Google, and, you know, you'd be surprised how many people are now putting out tutorials to help. And you can just go along with the tutorial while you're on your phone, while you're trying to do it on your computer. So.
Yeah, you can even change the engine on a car.
Like even presenting in Google, like I mean, I had a group of instructional aides. We're trying to put together an 8-week curriculum for the after-school program, and one of the teachers said, "I don't know how to do presenting," and another teacher showed them all how to do the presenting on a Zoom lesson or a Google Meets lesson, and they know how to do it now. It was just very, you know, a very small thing that they have to learn. I think that's important, not like teaching them a whole bunch of stuff. What do you specifically need to learn for the task at hand?
Yeah. And who did the teacher go to with that question?
I purposely had a teacher at the meeting that I knew was good with technology, because we were putting together an 8-week curriculum, and they told me, hey, we don't know how to do this. So I had that teacher explain it to them. Yeah.
So sort of like a mentor.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your school. Give us a little background on your school.
We were founded I founded it in 2010. It's been going on. It's going on its 11th year. It's in the poorest area of San Diego. We have about 96% of our kids are free and reduced lunch kids, which really caused a big issue for us during distance learning, if you want me to share. But I feel like we've done very well academically. You know, we have always a long way to go, but we're really focused on instruction and on making sure students learn. We also have an engineering pathway for the high school and an international studies pathway for the high school. And most of our eighth graders go on to the high school. So we had our first graduating class this year. We had only 15 kids graduate. They weren't kids that were from our original school. They were kids that were really high needs, were gonna drop out, you know. They were at other schools that unfortunately had closed. So we had the 15 kids, and I think all of them had gone on either a college or a trade school. So that was really exciting.
And how did you use technology before the COVID shutdown?
We did use it quite, I mean, we had one-on-one Chromebooks for quite a long time. So it was easy to deploy them out to the community. And we have a tech support it's a small school, but we have tech support 3 days a week. So they're invaluable at fixing up Chromebooks. I don't know if anyone else has the same issues, but they break easily, keys get lost, things, cameras don't work. So it's really important to have someone on staff that could do all that quick, let's fix it, get it out to you, you know. So we do have that as an advantage. We've had that always as an advantage.
Yeah.
We did tutorial programs, like sort of like MathWiz, which is a tutorial program in math. I think it's out of the United Kingdom, but anyway, we've done that where it's adapted, where the kids will do it as extra support for math. And we have the same thing called Reading A to Z, which we do for reading, which is the kids can read at their reading levels and move up accordingly. So we've always had those programs, but we've also had the online components to a lot of our curriculum. So when we went into distance learning, of course, we went into the online curriculum, which it's good in some respects because they've really ramped it up. But I feel also like the superintendent, Peterman said,
Peterson.
Pursuant
to his grandfather's requirements, it's
Peterson.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we have to learn to we have to start streamlining it down and making it more exciting and accessible for kids. I also feel like starting in middle school, the teachers really are more taskmasters. They want them to get homework done. And that doesn't really work for inner city kids because they don't have somebody to help them sit on them to get their homework done. So I feel like giving them time within their distance learning to do their work is gonna, I don't know, we're gonna talk about it more, but they need to have time to practice and do the work within the time that they work with the teacher or in one-on-one time. We had quite a few kids that would sit in and be there, but would not turn in any assignments.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really their fault. I think a lot of them don't have the study skills or the place at home to work, or they don't have the motivation. A lot of them, you know, it's just not a priority for them to sit down and do their work. So I feel like it wasn't as much a problem with the K-6 teachers as it was with the 7th through 12th grade teachers, where like, oh, they didn't do that assignment, they're gonna get a D or an F, and I don't know. That's like where my focus is now, on how to put the assignments within the class, have it more meaningful, don't make it such a deterrent for kids, and you know, so that's where we're at with the distance learning. We're going to have meetings starting next week, getting teachers to help us like streamline this curriculum, make it exciting. So, you know, I think we're going to be at it for a while in California. I don't really know how long it's going to be that we.
Yeah, that's right. I think right. No question about it. Yeah, you know, one of the things, you know, studies that are starting to come out about school and work, people doing it from home, is that productivity and satisfaction with working from home is one of the biggest factors, is having reasonable space to do it. So if you have to work from you have to work from home and you have to do this on your bed, you know, because there's no desk in your house or you have no private space other than a small bedroom, people's productivity and their satisfaction with working from home goes way down. So, you know, I think your point's, you know, extremely well taken. You know, one of the things we talked about last week, I believe, were a bunch of tools that are available to make lessons more fun, you know, turning them into games, turning them into contests, some add-ons that, you know, can go on Google Classroom or go on other systems. But I think that's definitely, you know, a major factor. So when you look out at your time horizon now and you say, you know, we may be distance learning for the entire term, what's the, you know, what gives you the most anxiety?
I just know, like, we have first graders that, okay, we have first graders that were already, you know, far behind, that weren't
Yeah,
really, you know, getting the reading going. And I feel like, you know, how do you push them forward and make them readers? And you know, we've had meetings with parents. I think what really getting some kids, some like in-person tutoring is going to be the way to go, because, you know, I mean, when you have kids that are so far behind and the families can't really do much to help them, even if they're in a small group reading a little bit with a teacher or an aide, that's not really giving them enough practice with reading. So I feel like the
yeah,
very beginning grades, as far as getting them to become readers, is crucial.
mm,
And also, like you said, it's a good point. We've got so many desks. If a family needs a desk, hey, we'll let you have a desk. I think that I just thought of that since you said it, because there were so many kids that were doing their lessons on their beds. One
yeah,
kid was actually in the bathroom because it was the only place that she could work where nobody would, it was a big family.
wow,
So
yeah,
I think that's a good idea to give them the tools they need, but I don't know. I feel like it has to be some kind of, with safety, have some groups of kids or some kids come in for more in-person instruction,
yeah.
if
So you're
possible.
sort of, your idea is to sort of migrate towards a little bit more of a hybrid model. Um,
I
do
don't
you
know
have,
if the government allows it, but I don't know. We might just want to say, you know what? With distance learning, I think you know, it's going to be a whole group of kids that are going to be not reading. It's hard to catch kids up at a certain point, you know, and this is going to be
yeah,
almost years for some kids. So
yeah, yeah. I think that may be one of the legacies of this whole period, right?
so
Um,
we're really going to try to get, you know, maybe the lessons shortened up and more time within small groups working with them.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. Do you have tutors who will go to students' homes?
We probably can make it happen. We have a lot of, you know, young paraprofessionals that could probably do that. But I
Yeah,
think the experience of a teacher teaching reading is really important. I know we also have
yeah,
a program that through the ACES program, and it hasn't launched yet, but it's AARP volunteers that read with kids.
yeah,
And it's going to be on virtually online. So we'll see. There's
yeah,
different ways. It's just a matter of, I felt like the teachers handled the majority of the brunt work and the parents did not really come forward as far as, okay, you know, we need you to help with this. You know, some of them did, majority of them were not that involved, you know? And so I think it has to be on the school has to be the place where the kids learn to read, at least in my community. Not all
yeah,
the kids, but I'd say about
yeah,
75%.
yeah. Interesting. I mean, just go back for a second to Dr. Pedersen. So you're teaching very specialized subjects, which the parents, I mean, teaching reading, you know, almost every parent can do that. But teaching, you know, a technical,
Robotics, cosmetology,
yeah, yeah,
welding, culinary
yeah,
arts. What we started to think about too is we tried our best to, bless you, we tried our best to provide some of the resources to the students, like having the mannequins for cosmetology, working on some basic Lego sets for some robotics, but that was a real challenge,
yeah, yeah,
especially when we were fortunate because in the state of New Jersey they allowed virtual hours because we actually license our students. They become licensed cosmetologists in the state of New Jersey. So and it's based on hours. So they allowed us to use virtual hours, but some of the other vocations, not so much. I mean, you still need time to do, to become certified in a break specialist, or even our certified nursing assistants. We had a CNA program. They weren't able to get their time, so we had to find creative
yeah,
ways, and they're going to have to do that in order to just satisfy those requirements.
yeah. How do you ask parents to be involved with this kind of education.
But when I was listening to Jan speak, I realized too that when we were talking about that this is a challenge for teachers, this is a challenge for some parents because they've never learned this way. And already, you know, the math is different than probably most of us have learned when we were kids.
That's right.
So that's already, that looks different. And some of the subjects, because we have diversified our curriculums to try to be, to try to be more all encompassing, all the good old stories that everyone read before, they don't even have a base for that anymore. So I think it's very foreign for some of our parents. And what we did was we tried to and I think we need to do a better job with it, but we had a bunch of parent meetings.
Yeah.
And just to hear what they had to say, some of the feedback that we got was they were uncertain of our schedule. So therefore, because when we had a student who didn't sign in, we had secretaries and paraprofessionals calling that home repeatedly until they got somebody, because we didn't know what was going on with that child. So we were trying to make sure that we knew what was going on. And one of the scary things that I say, not to be too scary, but I remind our teachers that, when we went into lockdown, the numbers of child abuse and sexual abuse, went to almost near zero. It's not because people were acting better, but because those mechanisms to report those things, which are us, weren't available. And I know that's that's rough to hear, but I think it's powerful. I mean, not that I'm trying to rush anybody back, but it's important because that's a real serious thing. So we try to make sure that we communicated to the parents. But we found out, though, that they didn't know our schedule enough, so we had to do a better job with that. But also that they didn't know what their expectations were. And we have to make that clear to have a parent academy to say, this is what we expect you to do. You need to make sure your child gets up to check into homeroom every day. Your child needs to do the homework every day, and what that is and what that looks like. And no, it's not whenever he or she wants it. It has to be done at this time or that time, and just be a lot clearer with all of those instructions, because the parents were home and most of them were doing work that they had to do.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share their experience relative to these subjects? These are, fantastic fundamental questions that I think everyone is dealing with, and unfortunately everyone's going to continue to deal with. Anyone else? Give it a second.
Jan, I think you and I did a great job.
I'd say.
I'll share with you.
Great.
This is Dave from Leominster, Mass. And we're under a crazy situation here. Here you are. I'm on the beach up in Maine right now. I'm on vacation, but
we're cutting you off right now, but okay. Go ahead. All right, we'll let you through this time. Go ahead.
Yeah,
look at that. There's this beautiful beach behind you.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh my. Socially distanced and everything.
Socially distancing. Yeah, we're at least 20 feet apart.
Yeah.
But the problem here in Massachusetts, we're seeing a rise now again. COVID has started to increase again. So they're thinking of going back to stage 2. They were at different stages. Now they're thinking of reverting back. Our superintendent, our school committee have still not decided, are we going remote learning? Are we going, it was going to be a hybrid. Are we going back? And without that, our schedule isn't even done at the high school. So I'm a high school assistant principal of 1,800 kids, and we don't even have a schedule yet. So I'm starting to think we're probably going to go back remote again. The problem I saw with it all is they didn't know what to do when they first sent us off around, St. Patrick's Day. Everyone's going remote learning for a couple of weeks, planned for a couple of weeks. Then it turned into the rest of the school year, and nobody really knew the right or wrong way to handle it. And now I'm looking at we're going back without a plan, and everybody just got credit or no credit. We can't go back like that, because as soon as the kids hear credit, no credit, they do 2 or 3 assignments, they know they're going to get some form of credit. And our superintendent's directive was, if they do something, they're getting credit.
Yeah.
We're not going to hold it against anybody. And that really came down from the state. So now going into this year, we can't go on credit, no credit. There's got to be some grading. They've got to, because like I heard the woman from San Diego, she's saying kids with some disabilities that have fallen behind. Same here. You know, K to 12. We get kids that aren't getting the services that they need, and I don't know what the answer is, because we have no direction from the state all the way down. It's a nightmare.
Yep.
And I don't know where we stand. Nobody does, and everyone's. I'm getting phone calls and emails. The other administrators are. Nobody has an answer. Nobody knows who's driving the truck right now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is nerve-wracking. Yes.
Edward, do you mind if I follow up with David?
That'd
Sure.
be great. Please, please.
So David, one of the things that's happening in New Jersey is just today they're having a bill to do remote learning for everybody but those specialized populations like special needs students, because we know that for the certain populations, if they don't have contact on some kind of regular basis, they will definitely fall behind. But one of the things that we're doing here, and this is why I planned it this way, was we use that half-day schedule.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is, so this way you get to see you follow your schedule. You can still create your schedule the same way that you would anyway. Use your half-day schedule and then build in the afternoon all of the individual time. So there's actual contact time virtually during that half day until 12:30, and then they have the students have more time to actually do the independent lessons afterwards. But my feeling was this, is that because I don't know, and I'm telling my principals this, because we don't know what to expect, let's expect everything. So let's have a schedule so that this way, right now we're using like a modified half-day AB schedule. But if we were told that we have to come back 100%, we'll follow that schedule. But if we were told that maybe, God forbid, we have one of our students or somebody gets contracts that we got to shut down for 2 weeks, we could go full remote and still follow the same schedule, so that it doesn't matter whether we're in or not, it's going to look the same. And it'll be less work because at least you'll have that master schedule done.
Yeah.
Well, we also went through budget cuts. We're one of the few districts in Massachusetts that cut. Danny, how many teachers did we cut in the district? How many teachers in the district did we cut? 168 teachers lost their jobs.
No.
Oh,
about a month and a half ago. They cut. And we're still, I hate to say things, but it's like a micromanagement up at the top. The people up there, the curriculum coordinator and the super are telling us, just count the number of students divided by the teachers. That's how many staff you need. They still want to cut some staff at the high school to use at the lower levels. And I'm like, how do we not have these answers yet? I mean, August 1st is around the corner. Yep. And we're trying to build a hybrid. We've been asked to build a hybrid model. So we're going to go A week, B week. So yep. A week was going to be freshmen and juniors, and B week was going to be sophomores and seniors. So A week, freshmen and juniors are in the classroom, and the sophomores and seniors remote learning. Then the following week, it flips. That's the plan that we've come up with. And we're still, but they want 30 kids in a class.
That's a lot for online learning. David,
we have a lot of issues.
David, if it gets too frustrating, come down to New Jersey. I'll take care of you. We got beaches here too.
Hey, this is my 1 week a year. 1 week a year. That's it.
Not very good lobster rolls, but we got beaches.
I have graduation Saturday.
Wow.
So I'm going home tomorrow because we have graduation rehearsal Friday, and that's going to be
Well,
6 feet.
Go back to your principal and threaten him and say, or threaten him or her and say, listen, you just got a job offer from a superintendent in New Jersey, so maybe they'll be.
Hey, I might take you up on that.
Thank you so much. I'll say this is an issue where the people in the, the top administrators administrators at the state level, they're really not experts or prepared to make these kinds of decisions.
And I think they're afraid to make them because if something happens, they don't want to be said it's your fault. You know, you sent them back.
Exactly. So, you know, you in this situation at the school level, you're like lieutenants who are leading a platoon where you're like connection with the headquarters. And there's a war going on. Well, what do you need to do there? You need to make the decisions. You're going to be left with listening to you, I can hear it. You're thinking, what am I going to do? I'm going to make these decisions. I'm going to do the best I can in this situation. You know, I'm going to take care of my platoon the best way I can. And, you know, when you get back, you know, and the general tells you what a great job he or she did, you know, you're going to say, you know, you did nothing. I did it. And I really think that as a management matter, you know, here's a system that's set up as a bureaucracy with all this theoretically, all this centralized control, and yet now they've like cut the strings. And it's, not good. That's the bad news. The good news is most of you people are highly prepared. You know, you're very experienced. You're very, you understand the situation. You know the ins and outs of the educational system, and you can do a good job. But it would really be better if they would just say, hey, look, here's a budget, do the best you can with this. But they're going to continue to micromanage on the one hand, and on the other hand, use specific instructions about how to proceed.
Yeah.
You know, Jan, how does this discussion?
Well, we have to do a continuation of learning plan. That is, we used to have something called the LCAP, which was our plan with our goals and how the budget connects to it. So we have this major plan that we're going to be, Sandy is the principal at the K8, she's on too. But we're going to put together a major plan with stakeholder input and everything to get, you know, the distance learning up. The federal funds also are about how to get kids to make up for the lost time. There's a lot of funding coming out, but it is being managed where you have to come up with major plans to do it. It's a lot of work. So yeah, I don't think any of us have had a vacation this year, so we're just pumping it out. But I also feel like the other people were saying, it's very important to be flexible with the schedule. So we've like knocked an hour off of the day. Maybe we need to knock even more time, like off, a little more time off, so the afternoons could be spent on doing a lot of this reteaching and support for students and special ed support and, you know, all those things. You need time to do it. And I don't think teachers should be expected to go past their workday. You know, I think in the last year, these kids were like emailing, texting teachers till all hours of the night. And I feel like we have to set a standard to say, you know what, this is your work time. This is the time you need to do this, and that's it. Because I feel teachers also were getting really burned out by the Zoom meetings and by all the things going on. So I like the fact of keeping the day a little shorter and then keeping the afternoon more for enriched academic, interventions.
Right. Yep.
Edward, another sobering thought. May I?
Please.
Yeah, another sobering thought. We lost one of our paraprofessionals who had been in the district for 40 years, Ms. Marquita Hobbs. And we were already in quarantine. But as we're talking to some of our students and my director is talking, we have some of our classified students who knew her very well, are very, very upset and concerned about coming back. Now, could you imagine, and this is something I think every leader has to keep in mind, what would occur, and we talk about the social emotional learning and talking about the emotional impact that would have if we went back and one of our teachers or one of our students contracted the virus and passed away from it. You know, once again, you said I'm a lieutenant, so we do our jobs, but that is something that weighs on me every single day, that all the rippling effects of what that does and how that would just be a devastating blow for any school community.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, it's just, it's such a powerful point, and it's absolutely true. And it would forever affect the reputation of that school. People would know it. That's the school where this
Mhm.
kid, teacher, got sick, blah, 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 So anyway, yeah, it's a powerful point, which I think is the reason you're seeing now is more schools face this issue of actually making specific, this is also at the, at the higher ed level and K through 12, as more of them face this decision, more of them are deciding not to go back for in-person classes. I mean, there's a million logistical problems, which you've touched on many of the good ones. So I promised people we'd keep this to an hour. We're a minute over an hour. You've been fantastic, I got to say. I mean, so thank you very much, Jan and David and Dr. Peterson, and I really appreciate your willingness to talk candidly and share your knowledge and your wisdom about all this. So that's been great. So we're going to wrap it up. We're going to be back at this a week from today for some stuff focused on teacher training, and I'm also going to ask for your participation then. So everybody have a wonderful rest of the day and a good week, and I hope the federal government sends you a giant check and solve problems. So with that, thank you very much. And
Thank you, Professor.
thank you, Mukunda.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thanks, everybody. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week.
You
Stay safe.
Enjoy the beach.
I'll try.
Okay.
One more day. One more day.
Beautiful.
Take care, guys.
Take
Andrew.
care.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll
Thanks.
see you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
That beach picture just ain't fair. It ain't right.
Yeah, yeah. Where are you? It looks like you're in hunting and fishing the world there.
Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right. Well,
Have a good day, sir. All
you
right.
too. Go fishing. Take care.
There you go.